Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Decided that I have a new component of my political platform that I'm adding.
Okay. Tell more.
I still believe that debt shouldn't exist, that student debt and medical debt and stuff, and like student lunch debt, it shouldn't exist. And I especially believe that student debt shouldn't exist if you don't remember when you got your degrees. Because I was thinking about it, and I don't remember anything from my bachelor's and my master's degree. Not a single thing.
It's all gone.
I think anything from prior to being on ADHD medication, I shouldn't have to pay for.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That was a different person.
Yeah, yeah, that's not me. You know, I can't be held liable for that.
I want to keep the degrees, but I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you're right to say that.
Yeah. So if you had trauma and you can't remember those degrees, no, you shouldn't have to pay for it.
You shouldn't be forced to. I think that's totally fair.
If you can remember college,
right,
you still shouldn't have to pay for it. But you especially shouldn't have to pay for it if you can't remember it.
Right, yeah.
Because, like, what's that?
Right, what did I pay for, you know?
No, literally, what am I paying for? I can't remember it.
Yeah.
It's just nasty, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What am I accruing interest on? I don't remember it.
Yeah.
That's not fair. Hey, welcome to Twilight.
Hey.
I've seen a lot of hot vampires on these streets lately.
God, yeah.
It's making... I'm waiting for this whole season to be out.
Yeah.
Because I learned last time that I didn't do well when I had to wait between episodes.
Yeah, I don't want to go feral, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to be clawing at the walls. Anyways, welcome into Twilight. You're welcome for hot vampires.
We are personally responsible for all the vampire media that's happening right now.
Now that Anne Rice isn't here, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome, you're welcome. You can thank us by paying us, always and forever. How are you?
I'm here. I'm living.
Good. Are you?
No, actually. I'm coming from the spectral plane. I am.
I'm glad that you're finally admitting it.
Yeah. Very much I've been here the whole time, but here means the underground, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I want to bring a book, controversial,
to
the space.
It's been a while.
It's been a while since we've read on this show, you know? So I feel like
it's been so long.
It's been a long time, but it feels also very, like, thematically appropriate and also appropriate to our interests, which is trashy reality TV. And also cryptids. So...
Okay.
The book, it's called Patricia Wants to Cuddle. It's by Samantha Allen, who works at Them, I believe. So, like, does a lot of, like, cultural criticism stuff. Very cool person. And wrote this book a couple years ago. And it's essentially, like, the final 4 contestants of a Bachelor-style show. And they're, you know, going through the process or whatever, and you see, like, it's multiple perspectives, so it's like you hear from each person, also, like, producer people, yada yada, all that, of, like, the making of a show like that. But, like, for their, like, you know, final weeks or whatever, they go to this, like, remote place in the Pacific Northwest that's very spooky. And then becomes kind of, like, final girl / spooky things are happening, unexplainable things are happening, and then also this commentary of, like, the Bachelor type deal.
Oh.
which is very fun. And you, like, kind of are always like, what's happening? But it's very fun. It's also, like, a little gay, which is great.
Thank you for your service, Samantha.
Yes. And it's fun. It's very, like, fast-paced. It's very, like, you know, for people that are very into, like, shows like that, it's very fun, because you're, like, you can tell writing it, it's very, like, okay, like, here's how a producer would think about how, like, orchestrating this sort of environment and stuff. And then also you get this, like, horror-y kind of funness, but, like, in a campy way, so it's not, like, super scary, it's just kind of, like, goofy. And it's also, like, on this, like, a bachelor vacation kind of set, and everything kind of goes in a wild, wacky way.
This book has everything.
It has everything. It has it all. It feels very relevant to our things, you know, the Pacific Northwest, cryptids, potentially.
Right.
You know, gay stuff, and bad reality TV. And somehow all incorporated in there. And it's a fun time.
I wanted to share with you that when I searched it online,
Yes.
there was one people also ask that I just included in our notes for you. That said, what does Patricia want to cuddle about?
Honestly, true. Great question.
Which I thought was beautiful.
That is beautiful. I love that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
Sometimes I miss reading for this show.
Sure.
And sometimes I'm glad that we get pretty pictures.
Right, yeah.
Every week.
And now we can, like, read for pleasure rather than pain.
Right.
And work, you know?
Yeah. I'm so excited. I love a new recommendation.
How are you doing?
I am also alive. I'm not currently on the spectral plane. They were out of fast passes.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't get in. I was on the wait list and
I'm going to be so real with you. I was very tempted to bring Jenny's 4-hour video as my happy thing.
God, yeah.
But I resisted. My happy thing this week, I'm so pleased to announce that I'm back on my Real Housewives bullshit.
Fuck yeah, we're so back, baby. Let's go.
I didn't mean to take a break, but I did.
Yeah.
And I started the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
So excited for you. What a journey you're about to take.
So I think that I had shared previously that when the, like, whole Vanderpump Rules thing popped off, that I had thought for the longest time that Lisa Vanderpump, in my mind's eye, I thought that she was Lisa Rinna. That was her face in my mind.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that. Okay.
That was who I thought she was. Like, the wackadoodle time. So, when I thought that, like, I was like, oh, damn, that's a wild woman. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, well, I'll get to it later.
Yeah. But
I finally started. I'm on season 4 right now.
Okay.
This show is wild. It's also putting together a lot of pieces of things that I had seen from other Real Housewives, things that I've watched, which I appreciate when the multiverse connects like this.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah. Kyle and Kim there are a lot of things that I'm very shocked that they have aired, which is really saying something, because I've seen a couple of Real Housewives franchises at this point.
Yeah.
So, oof.
Yeah, unfortunately that doesn't stop ever. Like, even this most recent season, it's still like, let's bring up this family beef and stuff in a really traumatizing and bad way. And it's like, hey, can we let it up maybe a little bit? Because it's kind of hard to watch. It's
not great. It's not great. But that doesn't stop me from watching it all.
Of course, yeah.
To me, I treat all Real Housewife franchises like watching National Geographic, just because I'm so far removed from any of their realities.
Yeah.
Which is usually the case. The one thing that I'll say, though, is that I know that there's a lot of, like, hubbub about Yolanda and her experience with Lyme. So far, what I've seen tracks very similarly with my personal experience.
Yeah.
Which has been very wild to see on Real Housewives.
Yes,
of all things.
Like, who would have thought the representation would have been
No, literally. And I know that there's a lot of things where people say, like, celebrities fake that for reasons of whatever. All I'll say is that a lot of, specifically in Real Housewives, a lot of these motherfuckers vacation in very wooded areas, like in a very like remote outdoor areas where ticks are. So
right.
And even like it doesn't even need to be in remote out like places, just any outdoor area is where they be. You don't just get a port in your heart for no reason.
Right.
Like but it's been very astonishing to see stuff that, especially at a time period where that was, like, very more my truth than it is right now.
Yeah.
And so to hear them talk about her faking it, which, like, listen.
Yeah.
A lot of these women fake a lot of shit. So I get it. But that's just been very surreal to see.
Yeah.
But I love... listen, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has been super interesting. Because the first one that I think I watched a year and a half ago was Orange County.
Yeah.
And these women are very different than the Orange County women. Holy shit.
Yeah. I also have incredible news for you that for this upcoming season, it turns out that Jennifer Tilly, love of my life, is going to be a friend, officially.
No, shut up.
On the show. And she was in, like, for a second, like, one scene in the last season, because I guess she's friends with Sutton, who you've not met yet. I think she's in, like, season 10 or something. But she's wild. She's great. But I guess they're, like, IRL friends, and she was there, and I was like, what the fuck is Jennifer Tilly doing on my screen while I'm watching Beverly Hills right now? And she's officially going to be, like, properly on the show as a friend next season.
That's wild.
Which is incredible for me and everyone involved. So I love this for you.
The polls that they get, like, there was one in, like, season 2 at Adrian's party where, like, RuPaul was there.
Oh, my God.
And it like, wasn't even a thing. Like,
yeah.
They didn't make anything about it. I'm so obsessed with watching it. We have 2 pieces of news this week. One is an update on a K2 movie. It's been a while since we talked about rosebush pruning.
Yes.
Would you like to tell the class?
Yes, this comes from Variety. Thank you, Variety, and Alex Rittman, that the apartment is partnering with a bunch of distributors like Mubi and stuff to produce rosebush pruning, featuring K2, and also Josh O'Connor, hell yeah, love to see it, and Elle Fanning, hell yeah, love to see it. And so it looks like things are actually moving on this, and that production is going to start very soon, which is exciting.
Why did I think last time that we talked about this, that there was a different lead with K2?
Yeah.
That it was...
I don't recall. Let's see.
I could have sworn last time that we talked about this that it was like a Michael Cera type or something.
Oh, that is a different movie. That is Sacramento with Michael Cera and Maya Erskine. And this is Rosebush Pruning, which seems like a lot more dramatic or like a dark satire.
So this is the 3rd movie that she has in production right now?
Yeah, seems like it, yeah. Yeah.
And this is so Rosebush Pruning is set to start filming later this year.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Okay, Josh.
Yeah. Booked and busy.
It's so funny that they say that Elle Fanning is in this. And not like, Dakota Fanning, who Kristen was also...
right. Famously tied
featured in.
Yeah.
I would love to see Kristen and Dakota in another movie together, by the way.
Yeah.
What an interesting cast. I'm going to be curious to see how that works, because Josh is really popping off right now.
Yeah, this is his moment, for sure.
Interesting. Okay, I love that. For some reason, I had gotten mixed up with Rosebush Pruning in Sacramento, but apparently Kristen just has, like, 6 different things on her plate right now.
Yeah.
And that's why. Oh, well. The other piece of news, this is she is fine. I want to preface this by saying that she is fine.
Right.
And I don't want you to freak out.
Yeah.
But last week, I almost put in a piece of news that Nina and Shaun White were, like, doing this. It was very poorly named. They were doing this, like, retirement bucket list. They had all these things. They were doing all these activities. But I was like, that's not really news. It's just, like, a tweet. Yeah. But that, I think, has gone on pause right now because in the past week, Nina got into a bike accident. Bike is poorly named. It looks like a motorcycle, really. She is fine. She's going to be fine. But she's going to be taking a while to heal. Because this motorbike looks like she got kind of fucked up on here.
Yeah, it does not look... it seems like, the recovery seems like it'll take a minute, because that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it definitely looks like an injury to at least her knee and to probably her neck.
Yeah.
But she says anyways, in her words, that she's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take some time for her to heal. So I don't want y'all to freak out.
Yeah.
But it's just a little ironic that it was like, oh yeah, we're going to do all these things. And then the next photo is like, so I got fucked up.
Yeah. Hey.
I mean, I'm glad that she's okay, but, saying that you're okay after a motorbike accident is a very wide range of things, right? Like, that's going to take a while to heal, so.
Yeah.
I wish her the best. Like, goddamn. But if there's anyone I would want on my side when healing from an injury like that, it's Shaun White and his team. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because he knows how to be able to do recovery from stuff like that. I am procrastinating from talking about this episode.
Yeah.
So last week, Bonnie struggled with trying to break the curse on the tomb, and things didn't go well. And then her and Jeremy got into a little bit of a tiff, and he was like, so I have a crush on you. And she was like, hey, don't do that. And Stefan got stuck, and he was like, it's fine. I'll just die in here.
Right. I'm just going to hang out with my ex. Just be mad. Trapped in the tomb, in the cave.
Yeah. And so things weren't great leading up to this episode, which is right before their winter break.
Yeah.
And this episode is like the full moon TM.
Yes. The titular transformation.
Right.
Is upon us.
So if you all, which I don't know why you would do this, but if you listen to this before you watch the episode, this has so much body horror in it. Mm-hmm. Please be aware, because for the most part, these episodes don't really bother me because, like, I know it's fake blood and stuff. Mm-hmm. That doesn't really bother me. This was like Breaking Dawn Part 1, Bella folding body horror.
Yes.
Stuff.
A lot of contortions, a lot of different types of blood and or illness and or like just general feeling. So it's a lot going.
Yeah, so like if it's not necessarily like outwardly bloody gory stuff that doesn't bother you, but it's like bone stuff that bothers you, there's just a couple parts of this episode that you might not want to, like, if you just see Tyler, just like skip a little bit.
Yeah, right. Just keep going. You're fine.
Yeah. How did this episode do you?
Oh man. I was expecting, because this is like the mid-season finale.
Right.
And because like the last couple episodes have been very high intensity and stuff, and not to say that this one wasn't, but I think the hype of all of those episodes being like, oh my god, everything's like coming into place and it's very dramatic. This felt a little more like subdued and focused for what I was anticipating. Which is
Last
great for
week.
me because I was really scared that something really bad was going to happen. And things bad did happen, but not in the way that was like, okay, everyone's going to die or my heart's going to be ripped out of my chest, very specifically, you know?
Last week felt more like a mid-season finale than this did.
For sure, yeah. But you know what? Give us a break, you know? Give us a little... Must we always be in pain for this television show?
I don't know that I need my blood pressure to spike
right.
every time that I watch.
Yeah.
So, that's something for sure.
Yeah.
And that isn't to say that, like, when watching this, my Apple Watch wasn't saying, like, hey, your heart's racing. Because there were definitely some moments where I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think compared to the last few episodes, this was a little bit more slower paced.
Yes. Right.
Than usual.
Yeah. I thought it was very funny that Bonnie was like, hey girl, you're still on your suicide mission, which I don't love for you because I'm your friend. What if I just put a spell around your house that you cannot leave? And her and Jeremy just like smiling a little like, haha, like very funny. I love that.
Her characterization this episode, and the last few episodes I'll say, has really frustrated me.
Yeah.
Because the way that she acted with Elena this episode, genius.
Right.
Being able to have her and Jeremy testing her with grabbing the moonstone, very smart.
Yeah.
Doing this spell to essentially lock her inside of her home, very smart. What confuses me though is, why do we have this Bonnie that's playing chess, essentially, thinking multiple steps ahead? Yeah. And then we also have the same Bonnie that can't see Luca.
Yep.
Is playing her like a fiddle.
Yeah, and she's just like a puddle. It's like, girl, stand up. Like, where is all the integrity and self-awareness that you have with your friends?
Right.
You know, like, why did that all just disappear here? Have a little more skepticism.
There's a part of me that's like, oh, of course, right? Bonnie knows to take all of these extra steps to take care of her friends, but she doesn't care enough about herself to do it for her. Right? But Bonnie, we saw enough of your grandmother to know that she would instill in you a level of distrust when it comes to other people, specifically other witches.
Yeah.
Why in the hell would you automatically trust another warlock? Fine.
Right.
Especially that scene where Luca's like, hey, so I have a whole bunch of these grimoires from witches across the world.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my god, wow. That made my skin crawl. Because you don't just give up your book of magic without dying. So that should have been like, girl, you need to run because he's going to kill you. And she's like, wow, like, that's so cool. You're a historian. Bonnie.
Yeah, wake up. He's fucking with you. He sucks. This is not good.
And we got confirmation this episode that he knows. Like, his dad hasn't been pulling the wool over his eyes this whole time.
He's actually a part of, intentionally.
He's been a part of it. So
Which
I
I
can't
hate
even
to see.
be like,
yeah.
I know. I wanted to believe that, like, Luca
was just horny,
like, I could,
you know?
Right, exactly. He was just hot and I could love him.
Yeah.
No. Oh, Luca. But she was like, wow, like, look at all these candles, like, we're doing magic. He made the moonstone disappear. And I had my eyes open. Girl, that's rock. You've been in a science class? Have goggles.
Come on now.
Hello? You can't get shards of crystal in your eyes. And then he got the moonstone. God damn it.
I hate it.
I wish, and maybe this is just because I'm 30, right? And I'm not, 17 still, and so I'm jaded. But it's like, girl, what do you mean you're trusting him?
Yeah. He just got here. You don't know this man. He's a stranger.
You don't know this man. You don't just trust another witch that easily.
Just because you're bond babes now through channeling does not mean you know each other and you can trust him, because you can't.
You can't. You don't know him. He knew, like, his dad knew your family from Salem.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah. Automatic red flag. Do not trust.
Automatic red flag.
Do not collect $200. Do not pass go.
Bonnie. No. Ugh, I was so stressed out the whole time.
Yeah.
I just want so much more for her, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
Hey, speaking of people that also frustrated me, I'm gonna fucking kill Jenna. Myself.
Dude, I know we're beating a dead horse here, but we wouldn't have to if she would just be responsible for the minors in her life.
Elena is blaming herself for so many things that are Jenna's fault.
Yes.
Jenna is the one that keeps bringing all these motherfuckers, keeps willingly inviting them into her home.
Famously inviting them into their home. And Elijah's just with a sick little smile, because I guess she's volunteering at the Historical Society or whatever. Because that's her fun gig now. And it's like, hey, how about we stop letting strangers into your home?
And I am aware that the vervain that she's supposed to use as her perfume would not be enough to withstand Elijah, who is an original.
Right.
Because nothing apparently works on this homeboy. Right?
Yeah, he's indestructible at this point.
I don't know that anything that, like, we are aware of in these vampire lore works against Elijah as an original, right?
Yeah.
But, like, Jenna?
Yeah, girly pop.
Needs
Come
to... Girl. You are dating someone who has, like, a supposed endless supply of a repertoire.
Yeah.
Rick, get your girl. Please.
Come on now. Shake her into sense, please. Like, it's frustrating. I'm pissed off.
When I legit... I haven't had a jump scare in the past few episodes as bad as when Elijah showed up in this episode. He's so unintentionally funny, because when he said, "Hey, I'm Elijah," I know he wasn't trying to be funny, but he was so fucking funny.
Right. It's like, hey, remember me? I'm a normal cool guy.
Scary.
You know?
He's so scary.
And now it's also like, well, now Elena's trapped in this house. And now he has just been invited into this house. And she's like, well, shit. I guess I'll have a conversation with you and make a deal with the devil, so to speak.
God.
Because what else am I going to fucking do?
He's like, you saw that he was supposed to leave, and Elena's like, I'm going to run up to Jeremy. And he's like, I'm back, bitch.
And he's like, hey, don't tell anyone I'm fucking here, bitch.
Oh, God.
And Jeremy opens the door, and he's like, hey, what's going on? And Elena's like, oh, nothing.
Got you to open the door.
There's not a scary vampire behind this door. Can you help Jenna with the boxes in the car? And he's like, okay, weirdo. And she's like, cool. Meanwhile, this very menacing man is behind this.
And then him having the audacity to say that he means her family no harm.
Yeah. It's like, be so for real, Elijah.
That interaction between the two of them,
yeah,
I love so much, because he's being serious in the fact that he's like, listen, I don't want to take you to Klaus. And she's like, okay, you're weird. Weirdo. And she's like, why? And then she finally figures it out, because she's like, oh, shit. He doesn't like you anymore. You're not in his inner circle. You don't even know where he is. And he's like, fuck, damn it. This 18-year-old. I'm 500 years old. Damn it. How did she figure this out? And of course he wants to kill Klaus. Right? Of course he does. Number 2 always wants to kill number 1. But he sees her as like an aunt, right? And I feel like this is the second time now where I think he's finally started to respect her a little bit, because she's like, I'll do this, right? I'll stay here, except I need this under one condition. And when he says we're negotiating now, I was like, oh shit. I think he actually sees her as something more than just like a spineless human. But Elijah, I know that supposedly Klaus is supposed to be the scariest person here, but Elijah scares the fuck out of me so bad. And I don't even think that he's trying to in this moment. He's supposed to be like, listen, I want you here. I want to keep all these people safe. I just want to kill Klaus, and then you can fuck off or do whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah.
The actor that they got, he's so good. I love him.
Oh my god. Like, putting in the work, for sure.
I appreciate him very much. I will say, even though this episode is pretty slow, there are moments of comedy in this that I appreciated very much. The moments where Damon is pestering Elena for being locked in her house.
So funny. Being like,
they meant everything.
The sun is beautiful out. You should really go out and get some vitamin D's, get those rays in. It's going to be a beautiful day. And he's like, oops, sorry. You can't. And she's like, I'm going to kill you. I swear to God. I hate you so much. Also, when Damon calls Caroline Vampire Barbie, that was really good for me. I love that.
It meant the world.
Yeah, that was a lot. Almost, made it not okay, but better that him and Rick were just trying to, roofie this poor woman.
No, literally. Jules came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Because, what? Because even the whole... I guess I should have expected that Mason being not here would be a concern again. But I guess since we really did not care so much about Mason or Tyler, that was surely they will not make that a plot point of oh, where is he? Some people care about him and his life and his state of being. And people will look for him.
They had made it seem like it wasn't a big deal because
right.
Catherine had been involved with Mason.
Right, yes.
And we had seen Catherine down in Florida with Mason. So we were like, oh, well, he doesn't have anyone else who's checking on him. Right. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then Jules shows up out of nowhere and just conveniently is in Mason's house on the one time that Tyler's calling.
Yeah. Interesting.
And, interesting. Okay. And gets there in no time, which I didn't know that you could drive from Florida to Virginia that fast, but okay, cool.
Sure, yeah.
Sure. And we don't even know how they're involved, but okay.
Yeah.
Seems legit. The way that I interpreted it for the person that Jules calls is it's gotta be Klaus.
Yeah, for sure.
But the way that Damon... anytime that Damon and Rick are together is some of my favorite shit on this show.
It's bad news. It's always fun to watch, but it's bad news. It is incompetent dudes doing the worst shit ever.
People always make that really bad joke of how many blank type of people does it take to screw in a light bulb. Those two, days. It would take days.
Yeah, 100%. And also it's Rick comes in as fake drunk. I'm sure he's a little drunk at this point, for real, but he's coming in with oh my god, I'm just the guy that sits next to beautiful women and orders them a drink and let's have a chat, la la la, which is not very convincing, right? And then Damon comes in and is this fucking guy, he stinks. How about you drink with me? And then he capes being hey, I noticed you didn't take a sip of your drink. Hey, I noticed that you didn't take a sip of your drink. Would you like a sip of your drink? And it's Damon, can we reel it back a little bit? First of all, she can definitely smell this, so you're dumb. This is not going to be the plan you think it is. And secondly, it doesn't really work when you keep being hey, isn't alcohol very delicious and tasty, and don't you want a little sippy of it? It's what are we doing here? You're not.
That's how Dear scenarios worked. Yeah. That's how they always said that it would work.
Right. Yeah. It's buddy, this is not. It's not working as you think it's gonna.
And they had said, like, right before that Liz, the sheriff, had classified Mason as a missing person.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept trying to get information from Jules because she's the new person in town.
Right.
But she wasn't giving up any information. Right. But it's very obvious that she's a vampire or not a vampire, a werewolf, because she can smell the wolfsbane in there. And after she does take a sip and has no reaction to it, but she's like, motherfucker, you're marked now. And it's Damon, bless his heart, he's not smart because just like in canon, you know, like a week or two ago, had just fought Mason in the parking lot of this grill. And it's like, dude, even if the lore isn't true, do you really want to risk getting bit by a werewolf and dying immediately?
Yeah, because that is the lore that has been presented. It's like, hey, werewolf bites, bad for vampires. They do a automatic hit, an automatic kill, you know, and you don't want that. And the fact that there's still, like, underplaying of any threats around him completely because he's not smart and is not aware of any situation that's happening ever. But especially being like, you know, what does Mark mean? And like, ooh, so scary. It's like, I need you to pay attention to anything, one thing that's happening that could threaten your safety or the safety of others around you. For once, please.
He acts like a newborn vampire.
Yeah.
And it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like, you are too old for this shit, my dude, okay?
Whereas Vampire Barbie, aka Caroline, is the newborn, is the one that is tasked with taking care of Tyler.
Yeah, and she does
in
like,
a very
great
traumatic
job.
situation.
And it's a very hard thing to do, and if any of these boys were in charge of it, they probably would have got. You know, in all seriousness. And she's like, no, I'm going to treat this with, you know, laughter and love, and we're going to figure this out together, and this is going to be a very scary thing for everyone involved, but it's okay. We're going to lock the shit out of these doors. We're going to put really industrial chains on this. I also love, too, that when he was, like, changing into, you know, he had his, like boxers on or whatever, and she's like, oh my god, are you going to be naked or whatever? And he's like, it's elastic, like, you know, it's gonna, I don't know if it's like a Hulk situation where I get to keep my pants, you know, like, at least I'll get something that stretches and maybe that's fine, you know?
I thought that was so cute.
So fucking good. It's so good.
Their whole scene was so sad.
Yeah.
Because Tyler was not only just, like, really scared, but a lot of the things with a lot of the things with werewolves that we traditionally see is that it's like instantaneous.
Yeah.
This was so slow.
Yeah.
And making it that slow was horrifying. And he was so obviously in pain during it. And when it finally broke bad, and he did rip the chain out, which he said when he bought it was supposed to hold like 5,000 pounds worth of weight. The moment where Caroline, who's had a lot of really bad experiences in this room, calling it a room isn't really appropriate, but whatever. When she did the like closes the door, slides down it crying moment was so sad. Because she's not just crying for her, she's crying for Tyler. And it felt really sad for both of them. But thankfully he didn't get out. So I was proud of him.
You know? They had a good system, even though it's not really an ideal situation.
And it was smart on the editors, because at this point, like a few minutes before, we had seen the quote magic curse breaking, but all of these things are happening where, you know, if it had worked and if it was real, Tyler wouldn't have been transforming,
right?
So like it's very clear, and I mean obviously like that wouldn't it wasn't real based on what we saw, but even Tyler going through this, we know it didn't work that way. I about lost my mind when this happened. So I need to know all of your thoughts on Stefan and Catherine.
This was nuts because I was bamboozled a little bit by Catherine's little tricks.
I honestly forgot that she could do this.
Right, because I was like, oh my god, is Stefan finally interesting? Because
did he finally give in?
Right, because we get this scene where he's like, you know, let's do it. Like, we're here, we're trapped here, and Catherine is being like, hey, they're probably doinking over there, so we should like, do it over here to really stick it to them, because Damon and Elena are definitely in love with each other, and we're stuck in this prison, so let's do it. And we see this like moment of hesitation, but then like okay, full passion vibes, like really actually into it and like uncontrollable. And then it turns out that Catherine's in his head and being like making little voodoo dolls inside there and being like, now kiss. Like, and he's like, knock it off, get out of my head. And I was like, damn it, I thought that was actually an interesting character move for Stefan, because Stefan has one note to him, really, so
literally
far. And I was like, this could have
and
been
it's
a
the
fun
desert
wrinkle.
It's like the deserted island theory, right?
Yes,
of like
right.
At what point do you just get so bored that it's like, well, fuck,
yeah, it's like,
what
you
else
guys don't
would you
have
have
board
read?
games or anything down there, like, you're just like, you don't have any books or anything.
How many times do you read Catherine's historical records?
Right.
You know?
Right, yeah.
Or like make tic-tac-toe on the church's walls, you know?
Yeah.
There was a part of me that was like, damn, what if they just did it, you know? But then he wasn't even, all of the stakes from last episode of him being in there were completely gone because he was in there for maybe a day.
Right. And they were just like, all right. Or Elijah comes in and it's like, actually, you're free to go, bud. come on down. It's like, okay, so none of this really meant anything in a real way that threatened anyone's relationship or safety. Like, there were no actual reasons for this to have happened outside of him having maybe 2 conversations with Catherine throughout the course of the day.
And getting the note from Catherine of like, apparently Isabel can track down Klaus when Elijah can't.
Right, that was what was interesting, because that felt funny to me as like I feel like we just kind of forgot about Isabel, right? And it was also like, that's her one thing. Like, she tracked down Catherine. She's tuned in. She's tapped in like a almanac of vampire shit. And so I feel like that's something we could really utilize more, even if she's not really on good terms with anyone.
Right.
But it's like, y'all didn't need to be imprisoned in a cave to find that out, you know, or like at least use that as something in your toolbox, you know? I feel like Catherine didn't need to tell him that. I feel like that could have been just a conversation or an idea he had on his own, but since he is Stefan and he doesn't think about anything.
True.
Catherine, you'd be like, hey, bestie.
No, literally.
You know, Elena's mom, she's important.
They really did forget her so quick, though.
Yeah.
And the only person that Isabel compelled to forget was Rick.
Right.
And yet it did just kind of trickle through to everyone.
Yeah.
Seeing how fearful Elijah made Stefan and Catherine was fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because I know that we didn't see it on screen, but we know that Elena, like, her request was to get Stefan out.
Yeah.
But Elijah had poised it as, like, come on down, like, you're both out now. Yeah. And so Stefan was like, fuck it, I'm not questioning it, like, bye.
Yeah.
And so for Elijah to compel Catherine to stay down there until Klaus comes was, I mean, he's just so scary. I don't know what else you want me to say. He scares me really bad.
Yeah.
And you could see that Catherine, there was a part of her that was like, Stefan, just stay with me. And he was like, no, bye.
Right. It's like, please don't let him leave me here. And he's like, bye. What if I did though? This was fun and everything, for sure. Had a great time. That was a fun little trick you played in my brain. I gotta go though, because this sucks. This is not a fun thing for me. And you should just rot here and die.
There's not another person who can break me out, so bye.
Right. I'm gonna trust this really scary man to free me, because I need to
who I
my
killed
girlfriend
and is still alive.
Yeah, yeah, because he won't betray me or fuck me over in any way. This is a totally win-win situation. Everything's good.
Hey, speaking of win-win situations, so Rose.
Yeah.
When we saw Mason,
Yes.
as a werewolf, he was not a wolf.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't think so.
Okay. I thought I don't remember making that up, but he didn't look like a wolf.
Right.
This was Jules.
Yeah.
Was a wolf.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, is she an original? Like whatever the fuck.
She an original werewolf. The first werewolf.
And I just want to know who in the Salvatore family, who do they work with to get their windows replaced? Because this is like the 5th time.
Yeah, seriously. I'm sure the guy is so upset all the time. It's like, motherfucker, again? Like, you guys got to get insurance on this or something. Like, this is not, you guys are paying out of pocket for this, and it sucks. It's good for me, but it's
they're
not
either
good for
like
you.
pissed, but they're also probably keeping a small business in business, which I do kind of love.
Yeah, it's like at least once every calendar week we can expect like however much it costs to replace a window, and that's good business, you know? That's a good...
Stefan's
they're on
probably
a
just like...
model.
No, literally. He's probably just like, just keep making them, you
Yeah.
know? And if we don't pick them up, we're going to need them at some point, you know?
Right. Just make sure you have them. Because they will
just
be
keep them
used.
in stock. We're going to need them, and we're just going to pay for them. Don't worry about it.
Oh my god.
So, Rose apparently just doesn't give a fuck and just keeps showing up to this place, right?
Right. She's like, this is a
Here's
safe
the
place
thing.
to be.
and Damon's like, girl. Okay. Here's the thing. Because I don't remember getting my English degree, but I do have one. So all's well that ends well. Okay. That is an omen of death. So when Miss Rose says that after she got bit by a wolf, I know that your shoulder's healing, girly, but that's what you say before you die.
Right, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
And you're
just some life
500
advice
years old.
for anyone listening. Don't say that, because that's an omen.
It's not like a good thing.
It's not a good thing. You're gonna get got in a very tragic way.
Mhm.
So don't.
You're 500 years old, you should know that.
Yeah.
Okay? And so to say that, and then to follow it up with you saying, lucky me,
Yeah.
like, do you want to die?
Yeah. That's a harbinger of death right there, for sure. You're just asking for it at this point. You want to be
literally.
dead so bad. And also, of course, this does not help Damon, who's like, werewolves are nothing, right? Like, they're just...
This motherfucker.
They're just dogs, like, whatever, you know? Like, they can't hurt me. And she's like, oh my god, like, genuinely very upset, because she's like, oh my god, I thought this was gonna be fatal, like, everything was flashing before my eyes, and he was like, guess that thing was a fucking rumor that they made up to make us scared of them, LOL. And then it turns out
he's
it's not looking
flipping
good, Bob.
off his cross. He's you know,
he's like, actually, fuck it, like, these guys ain't shit, you know, they're just lying, they want to be tough, they're not tough, you can't fuck with me. And it's like, homeboy, I need you to stop, look, and listen, okay? Because that her back is not looking good. It's not looking good.
And I felt bad for Rose throughout this, and she finally makes it clear in this, right? Because she's like, I don't love men who love other women, which, oh my god.
What a line. What a line. And then still being like, but I can still be your special friend, which, alright, seal the deal.
It's just so bad. And then homegirl looks at her shoulder, and it's fucked for days.
Yeah, it looks real rough. It's like, oh, interesting. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, not like boils, but you know what I mean? Of just like...
It did. It kind of
like,
looked like it was burned.
Yeah, like it's burning and there's like movement and stuff. It's like, that seems not great. So...
I know that this isn't what the writers were doing, but it's like, I know in my heart of hearts that wouldn't have happened if Damon wouldn't have said those fucky things about werewolves.
Yeah, literally. I think out of spite, there's like, okay, what if we make this long and terrible and painful instead of what could have been maybe an instantaneous death? Like, just out of spite.
Jules is like out in the back, like listening to this conversation, and as soon as Damon said those fucky things, she like presses a button and is like, activate the poison.
Yeah, right. And now they're talking mad shit. We can't let this happen.
So Rose is like, I'm just gonna preemptively mourn Rose at this point.
Yeah, it's not looking good for her.
It's not looking great. It's also, I mean, looking at the photo here for next week of the descent, it's also not looking great for Damon.
Yeah, I'm scared.
So not great there. Poor boy is struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, my friend. He's down bad there. Sorry, friend. I'm curious what the back half of this is gonna look like.
Yeah. I feel like we're setting up for a lot of pain.
Yeah, especially because if the big bad of this season is not Elijah, but is going to be Klaus, then I'm curious if they're actually going to show him by the end of this season. Makes me curious.
Yeah.
Because I know we get him at some point, but we shall see. We have some amazing patrons to thank. Would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Sean Salvatore.
Ooh, thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Pew pew. Thank you to Katya Karp.
Ooh, thank you to Ashlyn Vogel.
Ow. Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Ooh, thank you to Danielle Burke.
Ooh, thank you to Janae Bennett. Welcome back.
Ooh, welcome
to
back.
The fam.
Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Ow. Thank you to Dan Zeklos.
Ooh, and last but certainly not least, thank you to Emily Ozera.
Ooh.
So I have a fan fiction for you.
Love it.
This is titled Never Open Your Heart by the author orphan_account. The summary is, Damon never expected to develop genuine feelings for Rose. And apparently the prompt for this author was, she is beautiful, but she doesn't mean a thing to me. And there's no chapters in this.
Okay.
After that werewolf bitch bites her, Damon holds Rose in his arms as she cries and suffers, the wound on her shoulder festering minute by minute. He wants to cry too, at the thought of losing her. Of course he doesn't cry, because he's Damon Salvatore, and tears are for Stefan. But still, when did Rose become this important? When did she become a true lover, a friend? At this time last year, such emotion for anyone, except his brother or Catherine, would have been unimaginable. This is all Elena's fault. Damon opened his heart to let her in, to love her, and to protect her. The problem is, once your heart is open, it's hard to slam it shut again. I'll fix you, Rose, he whispers, kissing her forehead. I promise, I'll fix you. End scene.
What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's all Elena's fault. I think that's the photo that we see here of him kind of going wild. Is he's like, I forgot that I'm not supposed to feel things.
Yeah. No, I can't have emotional Damon back. I can't. It's too painful.
He told himself not to feel, and then he got down bad. I'm very nervous to go into June in the back half of this season with an emotionally feral Damon.
Yeah, I can't. It's dangerous
I'm scared.
territory.
Yeah. Well, friends, as always, send us your fan fiction, send us your backstories, tell your friends about the show. June is always a great time to share this show with friends. Yeah. And as we say here in the Pacific Northwest,
get bit.
Ooh, ow.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.